answer is not going to be lie between extreme end. Answer always lie in the middle. Fine? Some part this, some part this. Okay? Now, let's move to our this part. Paper 1, paper 2, paper 3 and paper 4. You can see that paper 4 is having different color coding. Fine, because the approach in paper 4 is required a little bit different from paper 1, paper 2 and paper 3. Now let's move to paper 1. Fine. In paper 1, you have a history, geography and society. Which society? Indian society. Not Pakistan society or world society. You have an Indian society. So all the issues and aspects of Indian society, history and geography is being part of GS paper 1. So now, see, if you see history, geography. So history and geography, here facts and timeline matters more. Fine, facts and timeline matters more. So, timeline thinking, history as a cause, event, consequences, structure a movement as background, feature, significance, limitations, not a story. Fine. Majority of the time when people will deal with the modern Indian history, they will feel it is a story, and sometimes even unfortunately many teachers and educators, teachers who teach in the class, educators who always available at only where? Only on the screen. Fine. So those teachers and educators sometimes do what? Sometimes they are only narrating it as a story. Remember that history is not a story. History is an outcome of event. Fine? It's an outcome of events, consequences, something happened and that resulted into something. And that structure a movement as a background, features, significance, limitations, these. So something happened. Gandhi started non-cooperation movement. Fine. So when Gandhi started non-cooperation movement, then after non-cooperation movement, Gandhi have all of a sudden, he decided to stop that non-cooperation movement after the incident of Chauri Chaura. Chauri Chaura was a small town in the Gorakhpur where people become violent and they have burned the police checkpost. Fine. And after that, Gandhi have withdrawn. Fine. Gandhi have withdrawn. So, why it happened? Because Gandhi was running a non-cooperation movement. Non-cooperation movement was initiated by the Gandhi for what purpose? Fine. Then why Gandhi had stopped that movement? What are the consequences of Gandhi's movement overall, and what happened when Gandhi has abruptly stopped that movement? In the non-cooperation movement, especially young people have participated in the very enthusiastic manner. But when Gandhi have all of a sudden stopped this non-cooperation movement, then these young people got very dissatisfied. And they believe that this is not right way, we must have to go with the non-cooperation movement. But Gandhi have decided to withdraw. So leaders like Bhagat Singh, they are highly inspired by the Gandhi and they wholeheartedly participated in the non-cooperation movement. But when Gandhi have taken back this movement, then the friction came between moderates and extremists. Fine. Moderates and extremists are having differences. So that is an overall what? Event, consequences, structure and movement as a background, features, significance and limitations. So every aspect of the history should be deal in this manner: event, consequences, structure and movement as a background, features, significance and limitations. Do not just consider as a story, this happened, but that happened, what that thing have led to happen, what sequences, consequences were there. So this should be a timeline thinking. Now, see, geography. I told yesterday also, geography means maps. Fine. Though every time geography do not means map, but any idea, any concept, any theory you are going to study in the geography, that is related to map. So whenever the question will come on the geography, map presentation is mandatory. With the map, you can finish the question paper in the less amount of time. So remember that whenever you are dealing with the geography, the pictorial presentation, the map presentation is very important. As much as possible map presentation you should have. For example, right now India is facing El Nino. Fine. So what is El Nino? How it functions? How it works? Try to have a presentation through the diagram. So the diagrammatic presentation is going to explain each and everything. Fine. So even through rough leveling sketch, river, current, zones, earn marks and save the words. Earn marks and save the word. Link physical to human impact. How the physical geographic event. Fine. El Nino. Fine. El Nino is a geographical phenomenon. Fine. It is related to the physical geography. But how this geography phenomena is going to impact India? Humans. Fine. It is going to impact southwest monsoon. And if the monsoon is getting impacted, agriculture is going to be disturbed. And if agriculture is going to be disturbed, price of commodities are going to rise. And if the rise of the commodity will be there, price rise of the commodity will be there, then Reserve Bank of India, in order to control the inflation, it will decrease the money supply. So if physical phenomena, how it is going to impact your economy, your society, overall impact, that need to be attached. So make sure link physical to human impact. How the physical geography phenomena, how a landslide impact, how a disaster impacts human. So all these linkages are important when you are dealing with what paper? GS paper 1, and in GS paper 1, you are dealing with what? Geography. Fine. Now the third part, society. Categorize causes, effect as a social, economic, political, cultural, historical. So anything what is happening in the society right now, anything which is happening in the society right now, how it is going to impact social, economic, political, cultural, and historical. So these are the dimensions. That dimensions need to be addressed when you are dealing with the Indian society. So while making notes, while writing an answer, you should make sure that you are covering socio, economic, political, cultural, and historical aspects. So the answer must handle these portions, otherwise your answer is not going to be good one. And use Indian sociological examples. Means if you are going to write about urbanization, fine. So you should not take the urbanization example of any other country. You should write an example of urbanization with respect to where? With respect to India. Now see, empowering women is the key to control population growth. Discuss. What they're asking? Discuss. Fine. Are they asking critical evaluation? No. They're asking for discuss. Fine. So verb is discuss means what we have to do? Multiple dimensions plus position. Multiple dimensions plus position. In intro, what we will mention? TFR. TFR stands for total fertility rate. So in the introduction, India's TFR near replacement. Near replacement means, for example, at present, India's TFR is 2.1. TFR means basically, on an average, how many birth women give in India in her life cycle. Fine. So usually, earlier it was 4, then gradually decreased to 3. Now it is 2. If it is going to fall below 2, then you will not able to replace. Fine. So see, husband and wife. Fine. 2 children. Fine. Both daughters, both son, 1 daughter, 1 son. But they have 2. Fine. They have 2. If they have only 1, so now you are not at replacement rate. So 2 people have given birth to 2 children. So these 2 people will be replaced by these 2 people. But if that 2 people got married and they have given birth to 1 kid, fine. Now you are below 2 replacement. Your population is getting decreased. This is what happened in the disaster happened in China. Past 1 decade, 2 decades, China went for one child policy. Forcefully implemented one child policy. Forcefully. Fine. So when China have forcefully implemented one child policy in China, then China went for below the replacement rate. Fine. Now Chinese people realize that child rearing is really a big problem, and if we do not have a child at all, we can have a very happy life. This is what Chinese parents are considering right now. They do not want to have kid at all. Why? Because in highly fast-going economic life in today's city, fine, husband and wife both are working. Fine, both are working. Who will rear the child? Grandparents do not want to come. So they have to rear the child, and someone has to take care all the time. Fine. Then you have to think about their education, their settlement. So all the money which you are earning, that will goes to whom? Child. But if you do not have a child, then enjoy. Fine. So many of the people in China, even they do not want to have even one single kid. Why we have a kid? If we have a kid, lot of problems that we have to face. School admission, this, that, all these things we have to take care. If there is no kid, no problem, no issues, all the money we can enjoy, we can roam the world, we can enjoy our life. So this is what is happening in many, and this is happening in India also. People do not want to have more than 1 kid. 1 kid they want to have because they do not want to face social pressure. Why you are not having a kid? What is the problem? So people do not question that male and female. And that is why at some point of time they want to have 1 kid only. After that, they do not want to have any kids. So this is why in the state like Telangana, Karnataka, all these states are having total fertility rate 1.7 to 1.9. How many of you are single child here? Fine. So at your generation or my generation, single child usually not there. But if I will ask the same question to class 4th student in any school, okay, then majority of the kids are going to raise the hand. They are single child. So total fertility rate is this. Fine. So because the question is related to what? Women empowerment. So you have to start with what? Total fertility rate. Female education is strongly correlated with the low fertility. Fine. Then you have to write the body, add the value and conclusion. Means rest of the framework is same. Rest of the framework is same, but how a empowerment of the women and population control growth can be correlate to each other. Again, you have to use this framework, socio-economic, political, culture, historical, what possible dimensions are there. You have to add and then you have to answer. Okay. So for notes making or for the preparing your answer material, you have to follow the timeline thinking in the history, map linking in the geography, and factual reframework at where? In society. So these are the key aspects. Yesterday I have not shared this PDF. Today I will share this PDF. So don't worry, no need to write. Just pay attention and understand. Fine. Now let's move to paper 2. So in paper 2, if you see in the paper 2, GS polity is there, governance is there, and what is there? International relations, IR. So for polity, what we have to focus? Articles and judgments. So articles of the Constitution and the judgments given by whom? Supreme Court. So here other aspects are there, but majority of the portion in the polity is related to overall subject understanding you will get by understanding articles and judgments of the Supreme Court. So this is the anchoring in what? This is the anchoring in the answer as well as your understanding for which section? Polity section. So polity section is heavily relied on what aspect? Article and judgment. Articles of what? Indian Constitution. Fine. And Supreme Court's judgment related to various case, Constitution and other case. These are the two anchor things which you have to keep in your mind when you are dealing with what paper? GS paper 2 and polity. Now, stakeholders mapping. Stakeholders mapping means, so suppose that certain scheme is being there. So certain scheme is being there. Who have implemented that scheme? What is an objective of that scheme? What is an outlay of that scheme? That scheme is implemented in what way? What is the performance of that scheme? And what need to be done further in order to make it better? Anything which we are going to deal as a government scheme, it is not the best one. There is still a chance to make it better. This is approach. So here, governance, map citizens, state, civil society, judiciary, use the lens of transparency, accountability, participation, rule of law. Fine. So if there is a government scheme, as I said that, which ministry, what purpose, what objective? Ministry, objective, fine, and performance. But when apart from the government scheme, they are focusing on governance aspect. So what is governance? What is governance? What is governance? What is governance? Anyone can try? What is governance? No one? See, when we talk about governance, it is a process of implementation of government policies and governments, all those aspects which is related to the welfare of the people. So usually Parliament makes welfare policy through executive. So executive means government. So government via Parliament make laws, rules, regulations for the welfare of the people. And the execution of those welfare process is basically called as governance. So for governance, whether the policy is being made properly or not, it is being properly implemented or not, and if not implemented, who will be answerable? Accountability. In order to implement any good scheme, only government's participation is required or people's active participation is also required? People's active participation is also required. Fine. Rule of law. Rule of law means everything should be handled and act according to the law, not the discretion of any person. Okay, I feel this should happen, not this should happen. No. If you feel this should happen, go to the Parliament, make the law, and when law will be there, then we will accept it. System should not work on will and wish of a person. System should work in the appropriate manner. This is why the rule of law is being mentioned. So again, here for governance, transparency, accountability, participation, and rule of law. So these are the four important dimensions when we talk about proper implementation of governance and how this governance is going to impact citizen. State means government, country, and civil society, informed citizens who are concerned for everyone. Have you seen that sometimes there is a traffic jam and unfortunately traffic policeman is not available? So some people will take this in the cognizance, they come out of their vehicle and they will try to ease what? Ease the traffic. So this is an aspect of the civil society. The informed citizen of the society who are not looking only for their benefit. They are thinking ki my benefit always lie in the society's benefit. If society will be benefited, I will be also benefited. So that is why I have to work for the greater good. So this is a form of civil society. So citizen, civil society and the government, and with this aspect, these things. Fine. And if something disputed, of course, who will be there? Judiciary will be there. Now, dimensions for international relations. Structure by dimension. Strategic, economic, defense, cultural, multilateral. Like for example, I have discussed about which project? Nicobar project. So Nicobar project is only economic project? Is it only economic project? No. It is having other dimension. Strategic, defense. So first of all, many students get confused. Strategic का मतलब क्या होता है? What strategic means? Recently, India and this country have increased their relation to strategic partnership. So strategic means, see, if I am going to do something and it is not only focused on one objective or goal, but it is having multiple objectives and goals, then that is called a strategic. Fine. So tell me, Nicobar project is an economic project or a strategic project? Strategic project. Because that project is going to give a leverage to India in multiple dimensions. So that is why it is a strategic project. Understood? So we have to keep this thing. Achha, one more aspect. Always in with India's interest and way forward. So remember, international relations answer are going to have I, B, W, F, C. IR answer, intro, body, way forward, then conclusion. Fine. And this way forward and conclusion should be focused on what aspect? Should be focused on India's interest. Fine. It should be based on what interest? It should be based on India's interest. Fine. India's interest need to be focused. And way forward. Way forward means if there is some problem, how to solve that problem. If something is already going okay, then how we can make it better. So when we are going to write India-Nepal boundary issue, we have to mention how to solve that. Even they have asked, discuss India-Nepal boundary issue. Means, see, here we have 6 types of categorization. But remember that if the question is related to international relations, doesn't matter what it is, any of the way in the IR question. IR question, intro, body, way forward and conclusion. Intro, body, way forward and conclusion. And way forward must be aligned with what is in India's interest. Pakistan का interest नहीं बताना वहां पर. Fine. Whose interest? India's interest. Fine. India's interest. And see, there is an art. If I am negotiating with you, fine. If I am negotiating with you and I'll say that, no, I will not do this because it is in my interest. I will do only thing which is in my interest. I am negotiating with you and I am saying that I will do not do this thing because it is not my interest. So you can also say the same thing to me. why I will do that. That is also not my interest. So if I have to convince you, what I have to do, I have to make sure what is my interest. Pay attention. What is my interest? I will try to portray in such a way so that I will present my interest as your interest too. So if I am capable of portraying my interest is actually your interest, then I can easily convince you to do that thing. So this is being done through skillful diplomacy. So how people do this? So if I want something from you, so I will portray if you will give that thing to me, then it will be beneficial for you as well as me. So I am demanding that thing from you not because of just my interest. It is in the interest of both sides. And that is being done through foreign policy and skillful diplomacy, showing my interest as a mutual interest. So if India and US is going to sign a trade deal should be beneficial for both. That is why both countries need to negotiate on it. So remember that in international relations, we always try to portray our interest as a everyone's interest. Fine. Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. Vishwa Guru. So all these things, when India say that, India is trying to push its own interest, but by taking other people's interest side by side. So in the international relations questions, usually students commit this big mistake, and that is why they are not able to get a good marks. Fine. Most dangerous paper. Why? Always on the firing line of UPSC. Fine. See. Data, scheme, chain. What is a data related scheme and how that data and scheme is going to create an impact? So anchor in the number plus a scheme, show the mechanism, raise the input cost, squeeze margin, dampens investment. See, so if question is being asked, explain government's objective to introduce production linked incentives. So what is objective of the government to introduce production linked incentive? So first of all, you have to mention what is production linked incentive, when this scheme was launched, and under that how much incentive is being targeted by the government. And this scheme is going to help which sector, what outcome has been come, and through that outcome we can say that this scheme is working in the right way to help our economy, and that is why this scheme is being implemented by the government of India and it is further being continued. So in economics, answer should be data scheme driven. So data related to scheme and how that scheme and that data is impacting. Chain means impact on economy. So what is the scheme or policy and its related data and how it is impacting economy and what are the good things possible to happen? These things need to be focused in which area? Economy area. So your anchoring in the economy should be based on two aspects. See, in economy, when we prepare for the prelims, questions may be conceptual in the nature. But in the economy mains, majority of the questions are analytical in the nature, elaborative in the nature, and focus on schemes, data, as well as its outcome. So, scheme, data, outcome is satisfactory, then it should be continued. Outcome is satisfactory, but there is more scope, way forward should be added. So this is how we deal with what? Economy. Now, convention in law, where we are dealing with environment. So environmental concern is being one of the key aspects of the UPSC exam over the period of time. From 2013-14 onwards, UPSC is properly focusing on what? Environmental aspects. So what is the environmental aspect? Basically, linkage to target. There are certain targets like SDGs, fine. Carbon border adjustment mechanism, Indian laws. For example, India have decided to be carbon neutral by 2070. So what law framework is there? See, we are facing a anthropic crisis where humans are creating a cause of the problem for destruction of the earth. In order to avoid that destruction, certain laws are being made by United Nations, by global convention. Even countries also have made those laws. So what are the laws related to what? Environment. So when you are dealing with the environment, what laws are there? And what is the status of the implementation of that law? So in the case of environment, your entire focus should be on what are the basic laws related to environment and how that law is being implemented. There are positive and negative things, how to address those negative things. Positive things should be encouraged and negative things should be what? Eliminated by making more effort. So this is going to be your anchoring in what? Environment. Then security, threat and response. Simple. What are the basic threats related to security to India? Drug menace, infiltration, fine, terrorist activities, fine, separatist movement. So all these are threats to India's internal security or security, and how the threat is being responded by the government of India. So your architecture in the mind to deal with security, two aspects. What are the issues and how to handle that issues? Means what are the security challenges are faced by India? Radicalism, terrorism, fine, religious fundamentalism, fine, that is called radicalization. So religious fundamentalism, radicalization, you are facing infiltration, you are facing a drug menace, fine, you are facing separatist movement. So these are certain aspects of security challenges faced by the India. Now, in order to face those security challenges, what existing mechanism we do have? Fine, what existing mechanism we do have? How these mechanisms are working and where there is still scope for its performance. So what problems we are facing? What problems we are facing? And in order to address those problems, what structural system we do have? Structure, and what are the positive and negative aspect of that structure? How to further enhance these positive aspects and how to overcome those negative aspects related to the security. So this is going to be a framework to handle what? Security. So security framework, issue, structure, positive things, negative things, how to address the negative thing, there are challenges, what positive things are being there, how to further improve it. So for example, cyber security threat. So cyber security threat, government of India have already having an existing mechanism to cyber security threat. But that cyber security threat is not being able to effectively control the online scams, especially bank frauds. So we need to handle that bank frauds not as a simple problem, but a systematic internal security or country's security problem, economic security problem. So the framework of the securities architecture in India need to be further improved in order to consider bank fraud as a big systematic threat like drugs, millions in India. So as of right now, we do not deal the bank fraud at that level. How we are dealing with what? Drug millions. So there is a need to India to upgrade their security architecture to handle the bank frauds. So this is how we have to work in what area? Security area. Fine. Now, the fourth one, that is paper 4. Being as a beginner, again, I believe that it is going to be a little bit difficult for you because you do not have any interaction till then now with the subject of ethics. But today or tomorrow, someday I have to start. Fine. So why not today? Someday I have to start. Let's start it today. So that whatever the mistake I will do, that will be learning step. Again, I am telling you, mistakes are part of learning process. Repeated mistakes need to be addressed immediately. So if you are making mistakes, that is not an issue at all. But if you are repeating the same mistake again, then you seriously need to address that issue first. If you are not able to handle on your own, then do not take it as an ego lifting in the gym. Many people will go to the gym and they will go for ego lifting. अरे मैं तो करके दिखा दूंगा, हड्डी तोड़वा के बैठ गए. Bone is broken, fine. That particular broken or ligament issue, or they now on the bed for 6 months. So we do not want such nonsense approach here. If you are making repeated mistakes and you are not able to overcome, go for proper professional help with your mentor, with your teacher who are always there for you. And here we are always committed. Fine. You can walk to my cabin till then 7 p.m. I always available. Fine. Even on the Sundays. I'm available. If you have any issue, let me know. Let me know. But first identify the issue. You should not come, sir, I don't know what is happening with me. उठा के बाहर फेंक दूंगा. ठीक है? You should come with me with the issue कि I am facing this issue. You should not be vague कि I don't know what is happening. You should know what is happening with you. And this happens only when you are not systematic. If you are systematic, you are doing your work properly, it is never going to happen. You will not able to identify what wrong is happening. You will identify. Problem identification is not a big issue. You are not dealing with any complex engineering project like construction of a submarine or fighter jet. So identification of an issue or problem is easy. Read, write, revise, practice, appear in the test. You will identify where the mistake is. Mistake identified, work on it. Still that mistake persists, again work on it. Still mistake persists, ask me. Okay, I am still facing this issue repeatedly. This is how to happen. Fine. So in the ethics paper, 2 sections. One is section 1, that is theory section. That is theory section. Fine. Theory section. And other is what? Other is the case studies section. So theory are something which need to be dealt properly. Understand the background of the theory, why that theory came into the existence, who have given the theory, what is an objective of that theory, and how that theory is helping to solve some issue. So majority of the theory in the physics, science subjects, anywhere, theory is given to answer some problem. Fine. So what was a problem? Why that theory was given? How that theory is addressing that problem? Has that theory have addressed that problem properly or not? If not, what need to be done? So this is the framework we are going to follow in what section? Theory section. Case studies, identify the stakeholders. I have discussed one case now. Who are the stakeholders? That IPS, his family. Fine, not his family. The family of that lady who is there to complain. So all the stakeholders of the case, you should aware of who are the stakeholders. So in that case, which I have discussed with you, that case is IPS officer, that lady who is having certain grievances, and that lady's family. So they are the stakeholders. Identify the ethical dilemma. What was the ethical dilemma? Shall I write an FIR or not? Fine. List the option and pros and cons. We have already discussed. Fine. We have already discussed this thing. Decide with justification. Legal, ethical, practical, and human. I told you what you will do first. You have to take a decision. I have given 2 things. If that lady is grieving, but she is not showing any symptoms of grave kind of physical assault, then first approach is try to counsel her. Because family matters are something which need to be dealt properly. It should not be feel like the families, all those dignity is going to be in the public domain. So first you will try to do this, and this is the justification. So why I am not going to write an FIR in the first instance? I am not going to write an FIR in the first instance because I believe that, because if I will do this, unnecessary, the family's dignity, women's dignity is unnecessarily going into the public domain's discussion, which is not required. But if I have observed some visible physical injuries to her, then I cannot think about that aspect of family's dignity. The life of that lady is more important than any other thing. Human life is more important, so I have to take initial action, immediate action in order to solve this matter. So this is how you have did for it. Then state a wider lesson. So what lesson we have learned from that IBS case? Family matters are the matters which need not to be only dealt by only rule of law. The sense of the matter, family issues need to be handled more sensitively rather than any law and order issue. So remember, family matters are not any other law and order issue. Family matters are more sensitive in the nature. So the other dimensions apart from the law strictly only, we should not go only strictly by the law. We should also consider other socio-ethical dimensions in order to handle ethical matter. This is the message we have received from what? What else? So this section B case studies are basically what? They are having 5 aspects which need to be addressed in your answer. Fine. So this is how we do deal with paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, paper 4. So from tomorrow onwards, what we are going to do? Tomorrow means Monday. Fine. What we are going to do? When we start our lecture, first briefly we will see what are the important updates of the news. Then either paper 1 or paper 2 or paper 3 or paper 4, I will pick 1 or 2 topics which I will explain you in the detail. Fine. I will give the explanation and I will provide the PDF also for your reference. Then I will give you the question which you have to write in the proper examination environment. Time you can take, but do mention how much time you have taken. I have given you the freedom. As a beginner, I have given you the freedom. The time you want to take it. Though ideally 150 word, 6 minutes and 250 word, 8 minutes. But I give you the freedom to finish even in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I don't mind. But for your reference, do mention how much time you have taken. Fine. So you should have an idea how much time I am taking. So do this work, submit for what? Evaluation. Get the feedback, identify what feedback is positive, what feedback is negative. Maintain the work. What work? The positive thing of my answer, negative thing of my answer. Gradually what will happen? More negative things, less positive thing. But if you consistently work for another month, you will find a fine balance between positive thing and negative things. And after a few months, more positive. No. This is what answer writing is all about. When you are a beginner, I am seeing your copy as a beginner. And my more focus will be on your framework and even the content quality is okay. Fine. But as you will mature, more and more intense focus of mine will be on your content. So your answer is going to be only best when your roll number is going to be published by UPSC in the final result and you will be invited by the UPSC to join the foundation program. So that is a moment when your answer is going to be final one. And I am always have this thing. Whenever you will bring your answer to me, you will find more mistakes, less good things. Because that is my job. And that is my job because I believe in your best teacher is your last mistake. Fine. So I believe in your best teacher is your last mistake because I am not going to allow the UPSC to find out your mistakes. Simple. So I am going to be the investigation mode. Maybe it may take more time for me to evaluate, but I will take more time. Initially, I will not find out too many mistakes. So for me, it's reverse. Initially, I will say that, okay, good answer. Gradually, you are mature in the frameworking, and I realize your framework is got matured. Then you will find that you are finding more mistakes. So don't be get puzzled. Sir, initially I was writing well, now what happened? I'm not writing well right now. No, you're writing well. Your framework is got matured, so my focus shifted towards the content part. And content is always having a scope for improvement. Always there is a scope for content improvement. So for me, there is always a mistake in your answer. And by that, I want to train you in such a way, by the time next year, August, fine, when you appear in the mains examination, your answer should be the best one. Fine. So this is how we will gradually go for it. See, no rocket science, no complex things. Make it simple and straightforward. Gradually improvement. Slow but gradual improvement. Disciplined way of writing answers and doing your topics is going to give the result. Okay. So Monday we will meet with the newspaper and one topic discussion followed by a question. Okay, thank you. And I'll share this PDF to you, your batch. For the online student, we will attach in this part 1. I have not attached. In the part 2, I will attach this PDF so that you can also get this PDF. Okay, thank you.